Hello and welcome to AFTERBUZZ. Every once in a while, and usually to mark a momentous milestone, Oprah will give us a peek into the progress of the OWLAG girls. OWLAG being the Oprah Winfrey Academy. No, hold on a sec. Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for girls. How could I get that wrong? And this is a school that she opened 10 years ago in South Africa. And to mark this 10-year anniversary of the open, Oprah and Fusion have given us a special called O Girls, which documents the journey of 5 of the original girls of the first class of OWLAG as they prepare to graduate from college. Wow, that makes me feel really old because I remember when they started. But this show isn't about me. This is about the good, the bad, and the ugly cry moments of their journey. Stay with us.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Thank you for joining us and welcome to this special. My name is Chelsea Galicia. I have the honor of being the host for this show tonight. I'm also the host of Justice is Served on Black Hollywood Live, The Trump Report on AFTERBUZZ TV, and the executive director of the Financially Fit Foundation, but none of that matters. What's most important is that I am an Oprah superfan, and I am beyond honored to be your host tonight for this after show on O Girls. I am joined by my co-host from Justice is Served, fellow attorney Shaka Smith. How's it going?
Great, I'm so glad to be here.
You, Mr. Smith, have a long repertoire of covering own after shows.
Yeah, great content.
Including Queen Sugar and Greenleaf, where Miss O, the Queen herself, called into the season finale.
Yes, we were very fortunate to have her call in. Yeah, she's been a great supporter.
Yes, and she's tweeted at you. Speaking of strong, okay, his Twitter handle and social media handle for every social media platform ever invented is Shaka Strong social media game. You can connect with him there. And we have Franceli Chapman, a newcomer to the AFTERBUZZ family. Welcome to the panel and the fam.
I'm so excited.
This is your very first show. Welcome. Franceli comes to us from New York. Welcome. And she will be starting the after show for the new show called The Six on the History Channel.
Yes, Wednesday nights.
And, great plug there, you're already a great host.
Hey now.
And you call yourself an artivist.
I sure do.
Which is an activist who uses art as their medium. I got that right?
Got that right.
That's awesome. And you can connect with Franceli on Twitter and all sorts of other social media platforms, right? Did I hear? At Celly Hangout. And last but not least, welcome Tsahai Wilson. She's a TV producer who is both the producer and the after show host of Vivica's Black Magic.
Yes.
I imagine that's a slightly different kind of show than this one.
Slightly. There's some more abs in that show.
Yeah. Nice. All right. So welcome. Thank you for being here. And you're also producer on other shows. You've done shows for OWN and Bravo and Lifetime. Fantastic. And you can be found on social media at Say Hi Tsahai.
That is correct.
Love that. Okay. So first things first, before we get into the show, I know people are probably wondering, why are these, of all the lucky people in the world who wanted to be on this panel, why are these the people that were picked? Why are you so passionate about the show? Right now in LA, it is 11:30 at night on a Sunday night. So this group is passionate and committed to be on this panel. And I think the first question I'd have for you all is, why was it so important for you to be on this show? Shaka, want to start us off?
Well, yeah, I mean, I just in general, I like the work that Oprah's done with content and TV and what she's pushed and the messages she's pushed. And of course, we all remember when she opened this school.
Yeah.
And she was looking for girls that were those girls that just, if only they had the opportunity.
Yeah.
And so it was just intriguing to me to find out where these girls ended up 10 years later.
Yeah, awesome. Franceli?
I mean, I come from an immigrant family. My mother and I actually came into this country illegally. I have my American passport now. Can no one deport me? But there's just something about going to college that was really important for my family, although there was a point where it's like, I don't really want to go to college, but so many people sacrificed for the American dream for me to be here. I felt getting that piece of paper was important. So I could identify with these young girls, and I love Oprah. Who doesn't love Oprah? I just needed to be here, so thanks for having me.
Awesome.
when I leave my house every day, I have a vision board, and Oprah is on my vision board because she's been such an inspiration to me. Also, I had an opportunity to work for OWN, but I never got to meet her. And there was a screening of a film that she was in the lobby, and I had a chance. I was like, this is my chance, and I missed it. So this is my time to kind of pay homage to her.
Yeah, that's the same thing for me. I mean, every great decision in my life has either been informed or inspired by her, so I kind of wanted this to be my thank you sort of to her. So, alrighty, so let's get into O Girls. What were your general overall impressions of the show?
I was really inspired by it. You go through your days and sometimes everything feels the same, but this reminded me of when you have that drive and that passion to do something that, you may not, that's very difficult, and other people may not think you're able to accomplish that, and therefore you're an example to other people. So it left me really inspired and excited, and reminded me that dreaming is okay.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I was so moved and captivated by these young women. Of course, we love hearing the victories, but even just like the vulnerability and the realness of where some people aren't where they really want to be. You know,
because you kind of think that, these girls are plucked from poverty,
right,
and then the rest of life is served on a silver platter.
And
you
it's
really
not like that.
No, not so much. Yeah.
So I just... And I was just reminded of the importance of like women and sisterhood, and that women need women and mentorship. Like there's just so much that rose up for me, and I'm such a crier, so of course I cry.
And we need good men too, Shaka.
Yes.
Yeah, I left hopeful. I was so hopeful because you hear the stories of what these women have been through and what they've been exposed to, and they're still going, and they're still pushing forward. And even Charmaine, who's lost the scholarship, she's going back and she's pushing forward. So it was nice to see that these people from circumstances that are so foreign to us are overcoming adversity.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that this was a show that filled what I was expecting.
Yeah.
I was expecting to get all the feels. This is what I love and what I need from a good Oprah show. My only complaint was that it was too short.
Yeah. I would have loved to just dig down more details.
It could have been so much longer, but I mean, that if I had any complaints, that would be the only one. But yeah, this is exactly what I love. Nothing makes me feel more alive and more in touch with my humanity than an Oprah show.
Definitely.
So that's what this did, especially right now where we are. I feel like this is like the injection of love in this otherwise toxic environment that we're in right now. So it was just what I needed.
Yeah, but like you said, it's sort of like artivism, it's where art meets this documentary, and it really produces something within all of us that says we can do more. We can do more for people that need it too.
I mean, certainly a theme is that we were inspired.
Yes.
And I want us to be able to each share the story of a girl that's particularly inspired you. Who wants to get started with
Charmaine, by far, just because her transparency. Of course, I loved all the other girls, but there was just something special about the girl who decided to stay. Getting out sometimes is like the thing. Like, I want to get out of here. I want to get out of here. But she stayed, and no girl left behind, and just starting this whole movement. I mean, it's just so beautiful that, she lost the scholarship, but she didn't lose the war, the battle.
It looks like from the end of the show that she is going to re-enroll or transfer to another university. So that is great. But I loved what she was doing. She wasn't just sitting around twiddling her thumbs. She was gathering up the kids from the community and trying to impart some wisdom and love into them all. I thought it was so beautiful.
And I think it's great that she talks about that. Although she went through OWLAG, and there's like the burden of like, oh, you're an OWLAG girl. The realization that you're not going to be the best everywhere you go.
Yeah, but that you're still a leader.
And you're still a leader.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing of like, there are going to be people out there that are better than you, and that's okay. Because when you are like the brightest where you come from, you are kind of put on this pedestal. I was a nerd in school, so they treat you like, and then you realize it's not always like that, and leadership looks differently for everyone. And I love that she said that. She's like, all us girls are leaders, but it just, what it means to Tandu and Deborah means something different to me.
Exactly.
And especially the fact that she some people would think that she kind of failed in a way. So the person that kind of took a step back and that had to pick themselves up and continue in a different way. I really loved her story as well.
Yeah. Shaka, who was your favorite girl? Well, I don't want to say favorite girl. Most inspiring. I mean, that's a tough order.
Well, of course, I mean, Bongeka, you know, to hear that she didn't even read a book before the age of 13.
Wow.
But what I got
And
from
now
her...
she's about to get like her master's from
Yeah.
Oxford
I
in
mean,
medical
badass.
anthropology.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, one thing that you could at
I
least...
could hardly even say those words.
The sense I got from her is that she's been looking forward, and she's done very little reflection, and there were these moments that we saw where she was reflecting and it was starting to affect her, and I think that's where I got a little choked up myself, especially when they're at the I guess the lunch table and they're talking about why is she doing what she's doing, and she's got people back home that wake up every morning because she's over there, and that really hit me, and so I just loved her story and I love her spirit. So yeah.
Awesome.
I
Tsahai.
loved Tondo's story because she spoke about missing the opportunity to say goodbye to her mom.
Yeah.
And how she had to overcome all the guilt that she felt after experiencing that, because it shows you how when you're young you think, I have so much time. She was doing the right thing by putting school first, thinking, okay, my mom's never been sick, I'm gonna be fine, there's going to be time.
Go 3 days.
Yeah.
And then
Because she was putting school as a priority, which is probably what her mother told her to do. And then she had this huge loss, but yet still continued on. And to lose a parent, where a lot of people, when they're going to school, they have their parent to kind of bounce information off of or just say, hey, this is what I'm learning. And she didn't have that. So I really, her story was really inspiring.
I mean, the number of girls who had parents die before they started school, while they were in school, just really
or in
tragic.
front of them.
That was crazy to hear. Oprah said there was a point in time that they were losing a parent a week.
Right.
There, and every girl that went to that school had at least 6 major life traumas.
Yeah. I guess they sent a survey around to
Yeah.
try and get an idea of what these girls had been through, and most of them had been through 6 serious traumas, like deaths in the family, abuse, things of that nature.
And then to see them come out on the other side, it's just, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And think about that. How do you push through when you have a loss or other, issues like that? How do you continue to say, I'm going to still put myself first and still accomplish this goal?
Yeah.
And it puts so
I
much
did not
into
know.
perspective. Like, what are we complaining about?
Right.
Yeah.
What excuse have I made to not push past certain things when they've gotten tough? When these women, I mean, I guess what choked me up the most is when they would talk about like survivor's guilt, that they made it out, and that's so real, and what it means to have that burden of like, man, had Oprah not given us this opportunity when I mean, when she said she would be dead or pregnant or would have taken her own life, like I just couldn't. Yeah, that was.
Well, I will come back to my crying moment because we're going there next, and it was along those lines. But I did want to share that my sort of hero of this show was the host, Kimberly Brooks.
Oh, she's
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Badass girl.
Yeah.
I was
Bold.
so
Yeah.
impressed. I was like, this is the girl I want to be. Can I at least be her friend? I mean,
Write
for
her a letter.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to try that. For her to just declare, out of college, I'm not working anywhere but for the Oprah show, and then to harass her way onto the show, like, it's just so great. I just love that story. When I quit my job at the law firm I was working at, I was going around joking that I wanted to be Oprah's foot scrubber. And that's not because I like feet. Actually, I'm grossed out by them. I'm sure she has beautiful feet. But I was saying that because I just so badly wanted to be a part of something that delivered a message that was meaningful and just so important to get out there. And so I just have tremendous respect for her that she made that happen for herself.
Yeah.
And then now she is on another network, Fusion, and then gets to come back and interview her old boss and and ask her, like, hey, when I sent you that letter asking you if I can go to South Africa, why'd you say yes? I mean, she just bold left and right. So I just took a lot away from the host and her connection with the girls.
Yeah,
Amazing.
that she's
Oh,
been
man,
in
that
touch
she's-
all these years.
And they write her letters still.
Right.
But I
So
loved
cool.
seeing those scenes where Oprah and Kimberly were in the same shot, and it was like
And
the
Oprah's
student.
favorite place, under the oaks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Santa
but it was
Barbara.
like a moment where the student becomes the teacher, because
Yes.
I'm sure there were times where Kimberly was on the outside looking in at Oprah being interviewed by someone, and now she was in that shot as well, which was amazing to see.
A crazy experience that must have been for her.
Can you imagine?
So let's get to those ugly cry moments.
Yeah.
Because I think it's fair to say that we all had moments like that. Even you, Shaka, ugly cry moments?
Well, I had moments that were, almost.
He's strong. Remember, he's strong.
This is true.
But they hit me in the chest,
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had an ugly cry moment that I was not expecting at all. Like, sure, there was those moments that I was crying, listening to the girls share their stories, but there was one that totally caught me off guard, and that was when Oprah was talking about Pumi's hard time adjusting to college because of her survivor's guilt. And the weird thing about that is that I'm like, oh, okay, so this survivor's guilt thing is like that Pumi felt guilty that she had made it out. Like, why her, of all people, was so lucky to have this opportunity. And even though I come from the opposite end of the spectrum of life, you can say that I maybe come from too much. I too have had that kind of guilt, but it was from the other direction. Like, why have I had so much? And it was this kind of this guilt that weighed me down that I got in high school, but like really at the beginning of college. It was like a really heavy thing. And the response that Oprah had to it was like kind of exactly what I needed to hear, what I wish I would have heard back when I was in college. And that is that's sort of just the facts, that this is the way it is, and you've got to honor the opportunity, honor yourself, because you are no good to anyone else. You can't help anyone else until you've taken care of yourself first.
Exactly.
And so I think that dissolved, I mean, a bit of that guilt that I had. And it was really interesting to me. I'm like, I should know this, right? Because Oprah says all the time, we are more similar than we are different. I should have known that I would experience some of the very same emotions that these girls do, even though I have a life circumstance that is completely different. So
that's such
I
a
was
big
a
takeaway.
boo-hoo at that moment.
Yeah.
I had to like take a break. And woof.
That's such a beautiful takeaway, Chelsea, because I feel that like it's one of those things. It's all of our stories, and no disrespect to the men. I love men, but as women, I think we're just born to be nurturers and take care of other people, that we do forget to self-love and self-care.
Yeah.
And Oprah just reminds us of how important that is. Even in her own struggles, she's been so transparent with that, and even these girls so transparent with that. And for me, like my ugly cries, it wasn't ugly. I just kept having all these moments.
I was full on.
There
There were so many moments where my eyes
moments.
kept watering. I think I've had so many ugly cries in my personal life that I can't take no more ugly cries. But I definitely just felt that I needed this. I needed like this resurgence of like inspiration, because it's like, wow, these women have come through so much. And it's just like my dad died, and listening to her speak about her father's death, and it's just like, oh my God, Oprah does it to me every time. I'm always freaking
she's
crying.
the master. No one does it better than Oprah. But I think Oprah has more than we all do. Yet she's found time to build a school and educate.
$40 million.
Okay, of her own money to educate over 100 girls, right?
400 total have gone through the
hundreds of girls. Speaking of family, my crying moment came when Tando's grandma came to visit her. Because I recently called my grandmother and found out she was in the hospital, and I didn't know. No one notified me. And it reminded me of the people that you leave behind when you come to California or you travel to somewhere to pursue your dreams. And, your grandmother knows you from the beginning of your life. They know you like no other. And to see her be able to have that connection and have her grandmother see her cross that finish line and graduate from school, that was a beautiful moment. And it reminded me of just how close I am to my grandmother and how important that relationship is.
Yeah. For me, I was just shocked with Pumi, and she was talking about losing her mom, and she talked about this the statistics of HIV and AIDS, and she said, you guys are hearing the statistics, but this is binary to my life. This is like I'm living this, and that to me just kind of like struck me as a moment. Whereas we talk about these sort of tragedies and things of circumstances, but people are inhabiting these emotions and feeling it, and it's real for them. And that just kind of, I don't know, for some reason it struck a chord.
Yeah, got any other times in the show when you had a strong reaction, could be good or bad?
We were talking about when the girls were watching the African dance at the school, and they said, it would be funny that the African girls don't know how to African dance well. And I found that interesting because, they go to school here in the States, and I'm sure people approach them with preconceived notions of what it means to be African, what it means to be South African. And here it is, they are on campus, they're not just a student, they're also educating people about where they're from, which is another huge responsibility. So you have a responsibility to Mama O, a responsibility to your parents and your community back home, and now you're the ambassador for your country as a whole on your campus. So that's a lot of responsibility that these girls still persevered through.
For me, it was the not black enough. When Oprah was talking about how she sent her the text like, they're saying we're not black enough, but we're from Africa.
Right.
And it's so interesting that dynamic of Africans versus African Americans and the culture of that, and sometimes not understanding why that is. Why aren't they black enough? Like, what's that about? And so it made me think about those questions, and also about like identity and who shapes our identity, and how so much of their identity has been shaped by being graduates of this school, and how do they shape who they are outside of where they come from, where they went to school, because all these things do shape us, but how do we figure out who we are on our own? So there was so much coming up for me. Layers of it, like, and
many levels to this thing.
There's levels, definitely.
I mean, at the end, when Bongenka was kind of being interviewed by Kim, and Kimberly was asking her, like, where would you be if it wasn't for this school? And she just straight-faced says, dead. And authentically, like, it wasn't trying to be dramatic,
and there was no question about it.
And something that she said, not to make light of it, but I connected with it so much. She was like, I would have, maybe gotten pregnant and had to marry a guy who's not even smart. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like my nightmare too.
And I think what's interesting is that, she's smart in conventional terms because, she's gone to college and she's learned.
Right.
But there's something to be said for being intelligent, kind of knowing that you are, but not being able to break out, and knowing that you're in a cage and not having the tools that you know that you need to, like, succeed. And to me, when she said she might take her own life, it was that idea of someone knowing they're in a cage they can't get out of.
Yeah.
And that also kind of hit me pretty tough too.
Yeah.
I mean, that last line, it's hard to be a girl where I'm from.
Yeah.
I mean, says it all
Right.
Sadly,
about
there's
what
too
it
many
means
places,
to be a woman in the world.
Yeah.
So
And she also said that although she knows her friends and family are proud of her, they would love it more if she were a boy.
Oh yeah, she could have discovered another planet. And,
Right.
and that to me was, because that was towards the end, and you're thinking, well, you certainly have made everyone in your
Right.
family proud, and to hear that, we were just like, wait a minute, what?
That's it. Bees like this for us women.
yeah.
It came out of the blue though, because it just felt like, where did that come from? That's
All right, so it's pretty clear that we all loved it. If somebody's considering seeing it, why would you recommend it?
I would recommend it because if you are at a place where you feel like you're questioning why you're making the decisions you are, why are you struggling through some of the experiences you are, this reminds you that you are not alone. We are all struggling. Our struggles are all different, but we together, and sometimes you may need help. Together we can push forward and accomplish our goals. And what you may want, just because it may not be what somebody else wants, is still important.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Purpose. I mean, it'll definitely give you a new sense of purpose and motivation, and it'll definitely help you see that success is what you make it. Success isn't or shouldn't look like what you think other people expect of you. We're all creating our lives as we go, and they're just such a beautiful example of that.
Yeah, I think hopefully you get a little grace for yourself, and you realize that you can have setbacks and continue to, overcome, and in a way that doesn't necessarily need to look a certain way. It's got to be your own way.
Yeah. I see the world as having two kinds of people: the people that already love O Girls and the people that are about to. And if you don't belong to either camp, I worry about you and the future of our world. Right. That is how strong my recommendation is. Anybody have any last thoughts that they want to share as we wind down the show?
I just commend Oprah for choosing to be the person that embraced these women, these young ladies, and become a mother. People judge her and question, why haven't you had children of your own? And here it is. She has over 400 children now,
Right.
and to continue to do this work in spite of having all that she does have and continue to want to give to others is amazing to me.
Yeah, I so relate to that because I am somebody who's open about the fact that I do not want to have kids, and people are like, something's wrong with me,
Right.
or oh, you'll change your mind. Be that maybe, but I'm 33. It's probably not going to happen. But what I do long for is the kind of bond that she has with those girls, that she guides them and mentors them, and she got to skip the 3 a.m. feedings. So it's just something that I resonate with, and it makes it okay to feel the way that I feel about not wanting to have kids and the way that I want to give back to the world.
Yeah, and it reminds me that, you know, these young ladies had Mama O, and then they had these host families in addition to their families back home. So family is what you make of it. It's family are the people that are there for you. They may not always be your blood, but they're the people that do care for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'd say, why is it we watch O Girls? Why does anyone like to watch something like O Girls? It's about compassion. It's about empathy, about the way you feel when you see other people on the screen. And take that into your own life. I think it's a great way, because we always talk about Oprah as if she's the only one that can be doing what she's doing. And I think she wants to say, I'm giving you guys a blueprint to go do this in your own life.
I kind of have. I started one of the many decisions that I made when I left my firm job and I started traveling, and I found an organization that was building schools in Guatemala out of soda bottles that are stuffed with trash. Oh, wow. So I've gone 6 times now to Guatemala to help build these schools, and it's changed my life. And wouldn't you know it, Hug It Forward was featured in O magazine a couple of years ago.
So you are doing the
Full
work,
circle.
Chelsea.
I'm telling you,
Full
all
circle.
roads lead to Oprah. And
And I think that's the takeaway. I think
Right.
that's what she's trying to put out there in the world, is that everyone can be an Oprah in a way and go help others, you know?
Right.
So.
For me, I keep hearing "No Girl Left Behind." I'm so blessed and thankful that I've been able to mentor young girls, and that's been a part of my life. And I want to do it on a much bigger mass scale. And Oprah's just an example, as like the more you get, the more you gotta give. Because in life, you can't just keep taking from the pot without putting back. And so, mentorship, community service, just whatever we can do to spread love in the world, I think is the biggest takeaway.
Yeah, and even I think if you recall, even the Leadership Academy had initial struggles when the first couple of years, and here they stuck to it, and 10 years later they're producing just great women who are out there in the world as a force for change.
Yeah. So to leave off, I've got to thank Oprah, because there is nobody in this world that has made me feel the way that I feel when I watch her show, that has taught me the lessons that she has taught me, that has inspired me to, I look at my life and it is completely different from the life trajectory that I was on as a kid. I was a lawyer and I quit my job and I started, just the very reason that I'm in this seat is directly traceable to Oprah. And not just because, she's a talk show host and I'm a host now. There is a direct line. It goes, Oprah, Marianne Williamson's political campaign. A girl I met on that campaign became Maria's assistant, Maria Menounos. And that's how I was introduced to the AfterBuzz crew.
Wow.
And Phil Svitek, the guy who runs AfterBuzz, says, hey, we need a lawyer on Justice Is Served. So, it is a direct, my life is amazing because of everything that I have received from Oprah, including shows like this. This is the only kind of programming that can make me feel as alive and hopeful. Thanks for your hope, Obama, but nobody does hope like Oprah does.
I think that's something she had said when she opened up that Leadership Academy. She was like, everything I've done in my life has led me to this day. And I think that's the goal for all of us, is like, what's our day? What's that day?
Right. Yeah.
And so just everything she says, you continually think about. But that to me is one of those kind of moments where you have to figure out what is it you're doing every day and what's that day going to look like for you when you're there.
Yeah. Well, I am just happy that I made it through this show without ugly crying. Right. There were times when I was preparing that I spontaneously started to do the crying thing. So thank you so much for being here with me to discuss the show. Everyone out there, go watch O Girls if you haven't already. And you can also comment on the YouTube video. Reach us on social media. I'm at Chelsea Galicia, at Shaka Strong.
Yeah.
At Selly Hangout.
And at Say Hi, Tsahai.
All right. Lots of love to you all. Bye-bye now.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.